ECSI fans, you want to revolutionize your sports investing habits? Allow me to tell you about WagerWire. WagerWire is an app that helps you become a superior bettor by allowing you to sync all your sports books and track all your bets in one place. See your current action, your betting history, and stats. You could also sign up for sports books and collect bonus offers. Follow them at WagerWire on X, as it's the best account on the platform. Head to App Store or Play Store now and search WagerWire and download the app.
Excuse me, Mr. DJ.
Hey, check this out. We got a great show coming your way.
From the ECSI Sports Studios, it's the Midday Market Report with Jeff Dawson.
Good morning, sportsmen from all around the globe. I am the host, Jeff Dawson, East Coast Sports Investors, and it's that time of the week for the Midday Market Report with good friend and colleague, Mr. Nick Hathcoat. Go follow him at nhathcoat413. Insiders Football, and of course the NCAA Insiders. As we got a bowl game live, Western Michigan, 24 seconds in, 7-0 lead. As they host Kennesaw State. It's supposed to be a shootout here, but we will see there. Two other games today, Memphis, NC State, and of course the granddaddy of them all tonight. That's Alabama, Oklahoma. Revenge number 3. 2 years ago, Oklahoma knocks Alabama out of the playoffs. This year, Oklahoma storms the beaches of Tuscaloosa and wins outright. Now here comes Alabama, and the headliner I had on my last show is, does the Crimson Tide storm the beaches or the end zones of Normandy? But first and foremost, a shout out to our proud sponsors and partnerships. It's WagerWire. Head on over to Google Play, download the app. It is free. Travis, Zach, Guy, myself, Amber, Holly, Carol, Bucks, Matthew, Allen, Jacob. The list is endless, guys. Come on board, end 2025 with us. Go to X, join the WagerWire community, and 2026 will be epic, I promise you. And last but never least, AtlantaSteaksAndSeafood.com. As you guys know, if you've been watching the shows, got an amazing box of protein sent to me yesterday from Terry, all the way from Atlanta, Georgia to Cape Cod. It's cold. The dry ice, I could still have the dry ice. That's how well that one worked. I got filet mignons, I got T-bones, I got cowgirls, I got, you name it, Terry hooked me up. Not just for the holidays, for January. So thank you so much, Terry. And of course, AtlantaSteaksAndSeafood.com. So without further ado, let's bring him in. Mr. Nick Hathcoat. What's up, Nick?
Hey, Jeff, how's it going?
It's going well. How about yourself?
Well, it's 14-0 now in 1 minute and 16 seconds into the first bowl game of the day. So we have a fumble return for a touchdown. So this one could get ugly in a game where I leaned the under. Didn't officially play it, but when you're leaning an under, you're not expecting 14 points in the first 1 minute and 16 seconds. So that's not going too great, but at least I didn't give it out as an official play.
Well, we're finally here. We get the big boys playing. There have been some bowl games trickling through. Last Saturday, Washington put a whooping on Boise State.
Yeah.
Some smaller games. Congrats to one of your colleagues and my colleague, Matt Grissom, wins the final quarter. Needed Arkansas State, and he said on the show that his model had the other side, and he hated it, and yet it comes through. Got a little dicey late, but congrats. Can't wait till he's sitting across from Matt Yeomans and telling him, I'm not just a college baseball guy.
That's we keep telling people that, like, and people, I would say, and it's deserved. Like we are the main, I guess, when it comes to like gambling wise, we're the main go-tos for college baseball. And like we can all admit that, like we follow it the closest. We're the biggest name in college baseball gambling, and we accept it. But it is very unfair to kind of limit us kind of from that standpoint. When you look at my success in college football, you look at Smitty's success in college basketball, you look at Matt Grissom's also success in college football was crazy this year when he almost didn't want to do any college football gambling this year. I don't know if you knew that, but like back in like July, August, he was like, I'm going to focus on college baseball only. I'm not going to touch college football this year. This is going to be just Nick, this is your thing. And then all of a sudden he's just gone crazy and had an extremely good year. So it's like, yeah, we kind of get pinpoint and like pushed back in the corner of, oh, you guys are like NCAA insiders. You guys are just a college baseball gambling show. Don't be so fast. I will admit, and this is a humble brag, that I think we are some of the best like handicappers on the planet when it comes to college sports. Just in not like college baseball is obviously our main thing, but yes, we have never had a negative year. And when it comes to college football, college basketball, anything else.
Well, before we dig into the games, again, 14-0, 13:44 left, Western Michigan up. We got Memphis, NC State at 2:30, and of course Alabama, Oklahoma, and then we got the big three tomorrow. I want to touch on college baseball because if my memory serves me correctly, we're going to start our fourth year of shows with you guys, and ECSI is going to do a new look. I gave Andrew McGinnis a little taste earlier, and his crowd, and I'm not going to go full blown, but we're going to go 360 here on our look, our approach on shows next year. But we're still, of course, going to have you. We're going to have Matt talking college baseball. People don't want to talk about college baseball because it's December and it's winter and it's Christmas, but there's a lot of work that goes on. I already know you guys have been busting your ass. Give us a year for the Vols where you're losing coaches left and right, and you guys are still supposed to be a great team. Give us the temperature in the room for the Vols in baseball.
Yeah, I guess let me skip the Vols and let's just go to temperature of NCAA baseball in general. I think this is the highest, like I'm trying to put it into words. This is the most watched college baseball has ever been and the most followed college baseball has ever been. I think the College World Series did wonders last year, and especially 2 years ago where it actually absolutely blew up. So college baseball has grown exponentially since we started doing it, and that's part of our success. Like we have to admit it, and like that's why we jumped in at the right time and started doing what we do at the right time. And now you look at coming into this year. Let's just give a quick kind of rundown on teams. UCLA is heads and tails above everybody else. That's the number one team in the country. They were in the College World Series last year. They bring back Brock Chalowski, their shortstop, who would have been the number one overall pick in the draft last year, but he was only a sophomore, so he's not eligible. And now he's coming back as their shortstop this year. They bring back 8 of 9 starters. They bring back almost their entire pitching staff in bullpen. So I would say UCLA is the number one team. We can't look past LSU, obviously, who've won national championship 2 of the last 3 years. And then they bring in the number one recruiting class in the country, with Tennessee being number 2, and that doesn't even account for what they did in the portal, which is kind of scary. So they brought in the best player from Grand Canyon. They brought in the best player from Northwestern. They've gone kind of crazy. So we'll see what that looks like, because they're a very young team compared to like when you talk about UCLA. Vandy brings back a lot, but do they have the offensive firepower? Tennessee is a top 10 team in the country. Their offense is going to be insane. Like let's get no part of that wrong. Tennessee's offense is going to be crazy, but can their pitching staff match up? Texas A&M, where do they bounce back? Second year of Michael Early. He had a ton of hiccups in year 1, but they bring back a lot of guys. Probably and like just getting Gavin Grahovic being healthy again, who's their star third baseman. who's probably one of the best top 3-4 position players in the country. He's back. So yeah, I would say if you wanted to give me a top 5 in the country, I will say UCLA number 1, big gap between number 1 and number 2, and then I'll say like LSU, Tennessee, Florida State will be there again. They're going to be extremely good, and then Texas A&M.
Well, I have to ask you this question, and I'm going to say it tongue in cheek, because the run that Coastal Carolina put on last year,
Yeah,
and to fall short, and nothing less than a David versus Goliath here. Once LSU gets into the final series, it's a wrap. I think they've won 8 or 9 of those when they're in the final series. So I'm going to say this tongue in cheek on December 19th. Who's this year's Coastal Carolina?
ooh, that's actually a tough question. You know what? I think this is finally the year. Yeah, I think this is finally the year for Dallas Baptist. So Dallas Baptist, so people who don't follow college baseball, Dallas Baptist has been, if I compare, with it being a college football show, I'd compare them almost to Boise State of the college baseball world, where it's like ever since the mid 2000s, 2009, 2010, they have been so freaking dominant when it comes to their league and the leagues they're in. So like when I played college baseball at Evansville, like they were in the Missouri Valley Conference, they were in our conference, and they won that every year except for like my senior year. Humble brag, we beat them 2 out of 3, and we won the Missouri Valley, which back in the day was Dallas Baptist, Wichita State, Southern Illinois. It was a crazy baseball conference. Now they've switched leagues 3 different times since then, and they've won them all every time. They went to the American, won it. They went to they won the Missouri Valley and all that stuff. They've had 40 plus wins in 9 of the last 10 seasons, which when you play 56 games a year, you're averaging 40 and 16 is nuts. Like when you think about that, when you think about that schedule and everything. So what they're doing this year though is if you follow along, they're joining that new, I guess it's called the Pac-12, but it's the older, newer version of the Pac-12, where there's like UNLV, and all these teams are kind of joining it. They haven't missed the NCAA tournament since 2013, and they have a gigantic list of their position players. They're bringing back 8 of 9 position players. Their starting staff is going to be awesome, even though Luke Pettit, here you go, New Yorker guy for you, Andy Pettit's son, Luke Pettit, is a pitcher for them. He had Tommy John surgery in the spring, so we'll see when he's back. But yeah, they should absolutely rake. They're going to steal a lot of bases this year. They should probably be over 100 plus stolen bases, which should be in the top 5, top 10 in the country. They got upset last year by Little Rock in that Baton Rouge regional, which everybody remembers was insane, where it was that Dallas Baptist, Little Rock, LSU. Because remember, Little Rock beat LSU in that game 1 and scored like 17 runs, I think, and it was just absurd. But I think Dallas Baptist, and we say this every year, Dallas Baptist has what it takes to finally make Omaha this year. So I would say that's my go-to team.
I love it. On the spot, and I know you didn't come onto the show expecting to talk some college
No,
baseball.
not at all. Yeah, top of my head, like what I can remember is, but you have no idea. I've been working on so much college baseball stuff lately. Like my head is so scrambled, college baseball wise. Like I've spent 9 or 10 hours a day for the last 2 weeks, getting all these college baseball stuff in. So yeah, you hit me on the spot, but glad I can give you something.
Well, last question. I can't, since we're here, can you give me a UConn Husky update?
I cannot.
Okay.
That is the one that is, not gonna lie, that is one of the teams I have not dug into them yet. So I don't want to give any false reports. So no, I have not dug into them whatsoever. So I cannot report yet. But that's probably that. They will be on my schedule within the next probably 3 or 4 days. So.
Yeah, a team that started so bad, they got on an amazing run, and still surprised they
Yeah.
got left out. But
Yeah,
again,
yes, they were the team that I think you and I both agree they should have been in the tournament for like 1000%. They were one of the best. They were probably one of the best 30, 35 teams in the country at the when they finished the season at that point. So yeah, they're very Notre Dame-ish to bring it back to college football, where it's like you want to talk about a team who could win national championship. Notre Dame was one of those. UConn, how they were playing at the end of last year was just about as good as anybody.
well, hopefully they don't get off to such a sluggish start. Two games. Anything today? Well, actually, I know you probably have a say in the matter. Alabama, Oklahoma, as I said in the intro, this is like literally revenge spot number 3. My take is simple. They've got the most amazing back and forth action. Alabama favorite, now Oklahoma favorite. It's in Normandy. Mateer versus Simpson. I mean, if you like Alabama, you like SEC, they're going to go as far as Simpson takes them. It's a 41. Both team totals juiced under to the 20s and a half. They're telling us 21-20 here. First one to 21 wins. Thoughts on Alabama, Oklahoma?
Yeah, I lean Oklahoma, which so also in this is being a market show as we kind of promote this. It's kind of crazy like how much money in bets Alabama has taken, yet the line has moved the other way. Everything is leaning. Everybody's taking Alabama. Everybody believes in Alabama, but the line is moving towards Oklahoma, which means this is one of those situations where it's like the books might know something, and it kind of feels that way. Also, I think John Mateer getting healthy is a major overlooked situation for Oklahoma. He was so good at the beginning of the year.
He was.
Like so good. Like he was in the Heisman race for the first like 4 or 5 weeks. And then all of a sudden he gets hurt, breaks his hand, and then all of a sudden like he falls off a cliff. And I get it. He was not good the rest of the year. But also colleges, this isn't like the NFL where you have to report everything. We have no idea how healthy or unhealthy he actually was to finish out the last like 5, 6 weeks of the season. I think having these last 3 weeks off, this is a night game in Norman, which I think this place is going to go bananas. I lean Oklahoma. We've also heard so much stuff. Is Ty Simpson healthy? How much like we've heard this back issue. Do we know who knows if it's real or not? Because I follow like all these message boards. I'm in half the message boards for Alabama. I'm in the Oklahoma one, the SEC ones. Some people are saying it was a joke. Some people are saying he's fully healthy. Some people are saying this never happened. We also have Kalen DeBoer, who was he fishing around about that Michigan job? Maybe, maybe not. So maybe half his brain was on that Michigan job, half of it was in this Alabama-Oklahoma game. Alabama, no joke, dominated Oklahoma the first game. They out scrimmaged them by 240 yards, but still lost. They do get Jam Miller back, who's being fully healthy. I think Oklahoma winning this game kind of puts a stamp on Alabama should not be in this playoff. We've said this before, and I'm going to say it again. They've been so bad the last 5 or 6 weeks, and I don't know if 2 weeks off helps this Alabama team that much. I trust Oklahoma, even though their offense is – this is going to be ugly. This is going to be a very like 1940-ish type of football game. Even you mentioned 21-20 type of game. I don't know if anybody gets to 21. So let's be real. I would lean under. Haven't played anything in this one and will not. I'm not going to touch this game whatsoever. But I do lean Oklahoma money line, and I think this is going to be ugly. But I wouldn't even say fun to watch unless you are 78 years old and you enjoyed 1940s rugby.
Well, back in the day, the Sooner Schooner, Keith Jackson. This is before you were even a thought in your parents' eyes here. Now, this was our glory day back then. You know, I remember the Bosworth days. I remember with the Sooner Schooner coming out when it shouldn't have come out. I remember when it flipped over in the Orange Bowl.
Yeah.
So you know, so those were the fun days. And oh, by the way, Western Michigan now 21-0. So if you have a Kennesaw State ticket, you might want to switch from espresso maybe to a mimosa by now. or a Bloody Mary because it's getting ugly early. Tomorrow, now listen, I've done a lot of shows. I know you follow everything like we do here. Listen,
Yep.
here's the consensus on the Big Four games: Alabama, and then tomorrow the two big favorites, the Ducks and Ole Miss roll. And then the dog of the day, the whole world's on Miami. Well, for me reading the market, okay, why did that line open at 5.5? Because they wanted Miami money, which they
Yep.
got. It's down to now 3.5. If the line opened at 2 and it shot to 4, they needed A&M money. But anyone I talk to, even Matt has them actually winning the game outright and favored. I talked to Scotty, his model does. So it can't be as easy as taking Alabama, Ole Miss, Oregon, and then Miami for the cherry on top.
No, I mean, like think about, like just go back to last year and like think about the home teams in the college football playoff. It was an average margin of victory of 19.3 points. Like none of those games were close, and the home teams won them all. I don't see any reason why. Like I said, I just mentioned Oklahoma. I have them favored over Bama, which is different than I know Matt has, and a couple other cappers. I actually like Oklahoma a lot more. A&M, I think, is the same way. Like A&M, it's been such a secret where, like Marcel Reed, I actually do try. Like, okay, go by position. Marcel Reed was a Heisman candidate over just because of the schedule, and I can absolutely agree with that. But does anybody actually trust Carson Beck on the road? Like that's where it comes down to me. Like you can look back at his Georgia days. How many games on the road did he win? Like none that were big, and he turned the ball over all the time. Every time he was pressured, this Texas A&M defensive line is going to get after him. I think it's. I absolutely love. So I love the bet that we got on this game when I mentioned it last week. We gave out under 52.5. That was one of our official plays, and now it's down to 47.5, 48. So we're giving. So that's 5 points that we gave out last week. In a week where it came to that. I actually do. I hate this line being 3.5, 4. I do think the books are kind of trying to tell you something like you mentioned. I think A&M wins this. I just don't like with that number. I wouldn't hate parlaying this. So like you could do like an A&M parlay with whether you do it with Ole Miss or Oregon. It should get you around that probably minus 115, minus 120 number. So I wouldn't hate that because I really do think A&M wins this, even though my power numbers are the same as Matt's. And I know what he has. Miami power, like if you just go power ratings alone, I have Miami minus 2.3, favored by 2.3. So that's a 5-point difference where it is 3.5, which does sound crazy, but I actually really do like these home teams in this initial college football playoff matchup. I hate Carson Beck on the road. I don't think they are ready for it. I think A&M is going to be insane. So even though it's 11 in the morning when they're playing it, I think A&M wins that one. So yeah, I would take money line with a parlay of either Ole Miss or Oregon there, but I like our under is so perfect considering we gave it out a week ago at 52.5.
We're going to be back on next Friday, which will be the 26th. We'll have the results of this weekend. We'll have some look ahead spots for December 31st and January 1st here. I'm going to ask you this. We're assuming Oregon wins. Then they're set up against Texas Tech. What is your look ahead in your mental thought process? I'm not saying I dislike the Ducks. I've been one of the naysayers all year. I keep saying it this way. I don't see the flash and flare of Bo Nix. I know they're solid on both sides of the ball. I did see that one marquee game when they were at home and Indiana came in and beat them. This Texas Tech team is a team that most people haven't seen. Now, who's BYU? They beat them once, they beat them twice. They got a defense elite defense. Their offense, I know it's not Patrick Mahomes, but they can score with the best of them. The fear is the same fear that you had at Indiana or Ohio State. How was Indiana's front seven and defensive seven going to match up with one of the big boys? Well, we saw what happened there. And my point is, I think Oregon will be that team that everyone jumps on just because they haven't seen Texas Tech. And I know I probably see an Oregon -1.5 in that game. Am I crazy?
No, you're actually spot on. So I have them 1.8. So
Okay.
so my power ratings I would have Oregon 1.8. I'm interested to see where the books do put this. I think a lot of it might have to do with how they treat James Madison. They're talking about teams who need to get healthy was Oregon. Like Oregon was played the second half of the season without their top two receivers, without their top corner, and without their best defensive lineman. And they were still able to win, still able to pretty much dominate everybody. USC was on the schedule. You mentioned the loss against Indiana. Well, it turns out, hey, maybe Indiana is the best team in the country, so that loss doesn't look as bad anymore. And then, and this being at a neutral site, I do think this is going to be somewhere where we mentioned it. I have Oregon big. I played Oregon -20.5 on this show. We mentioned it. I think they rest their starters in halfway through the third quarter, fourth quarter. So I'm not sure there's going to be any more too much wear and tear there when they face Texas Tech. And then to flip it to Texas Tech, we've seen their schedule, but it's hard to say. We see so in person, we talk about eye test all the time in this sport. Eye test, man, they absolutely fit the eye test. Where it's like every time they played a good team, which is BYU twice and Oregon, or not Oregon, Utah once, they passed with flying colors. Like the defensive line, offensive line for Texas Tech look amazing. Now, there are still so many flaws on their offense where it's even those BYU games, they had to settle for so many field goals. Can you do that against Oregon? Because Oregon's offense is going to get in the end zone and they're going to score touchdowns. You cannot settle for 4 to 5 field goals if you're Texas Tech. And we talk about the schedule. Is the schedule really that good? Because we don't know. BYU, do we know is great? No, because the two teams we saw them play, which was Texas Tech, they got blown out twice. So we don't know how good BYU actually was. And we don't know how good Utah was either. So this is going to be a huge kind of period for Baron Morton. I think is awesome. This will be a close game though, because of even if Texas Tech offense is not as good as we claim it to be because of their schedule, those offense and defensive lines are real. Like those they've got, I don't know, 9 or 10 NFL guys on that offense and defensive line. That will be close. I would still lean Oregon. In that game, I'm interested to see where this kind of line, as soon as it comes out Saturday, I will hit it one way or the other, and I can text it to you because it's going to move. I don't think I won't be shocked if this opens up at like a pick'em type thing, and Oregon gets like 3, and then it goes back to a pick'em, and then Texas Tech by like 2. It's going to be like all around, but I think all the SEC haters and everybody's going to hate to hear this or love to hear it, but I think 3 of the best 4 teams in the country are from the Big Ten, and I think Oregon's one of those. So I do think Oregon eventually beats Texas Tech, but I'm interested to see where that line opens up.
Yeah, and again, I had in my head Oregon 1.5, and I still think it will get hit. So if you saw it, Oregon 3.5, they are begging for Texas Tech money.
3, I will play at 3, and I do think so. What I think the books will do. This is just me, like this our midday market report. I think they open up at 2.5 Oregon, and I think they want a ton of money on that 2.5. And then I think it moves to 3.5, 4-ish, and probably sits there for a while, and they just take a bunch of that Texas Tech money at 3.5, 4. Is probably what I would guess, and I think it stays around that 3.5, 4 mark. But I would, I guess I would lean. Yes, I'll play Oregon 2.5 or 3. Once it crosses that number of 3 where the books want it to cross, then no. I'll stay away.
Last question, so we can let you get some Christmas shopping done. Uh, um, any thoughts on Michigan and the head coach search? You hear him Willingham, yada yada yada. Any thoughts?
Yeah, it's a mess, isn't it? Like it feels like and it's crazy that it's always Michigan. We've had all these scandals for the last 7 or 8 years. Like you go back to Harbaugh, like you go back, like everybody. It's like, why does this keep happening? So obviously the AD had something to do with it. I think the bigger story is that people are kind of looking past is the fact that the Michigan AD and like the administration knew that this was happening a month and a half ago, and yet they waited for the Ohio State game. They waited for this National Signing Day, which is kind of the scarier part, where it's like, hey, we're going to have these 17, 18-year-old kids sign here, and then we're going to announce that we're firing our coach. That is so, like, there's some shady stuff that goes on in college sports. That's about as bad as it gets, in my opinion, when you're trying to trick a 17 or 18-year-old kid and their family, where we just want you to sign here. Kenny Dillingham is probably the best they could do. I don't see him doing it though. I don't see why at this point. Like you talk to old heads and everybody where it's like, oh, Michigan is such a great job. This is a national brand. How much better is Michigan than Arizona State right now as a brand? And to me, it's pretty close. Like when you consider like the money and you consider like, would you rather live in Tucson, Arizona, or would you rather live in Michigan? Maybe it's just me, but I'd rather live in Tucson, Arizona if I'm a kid. Sorority girls, Arizona State over Michigan, anytime. So it's not the same as it used to be. Like times have changed, money has changed. Kenny Dillingham, if you're him, and he's also an alumni of the school, I think you stay there. I think Michigan ends up. I think Jed Fish is probably where it ends up. Current Washington coach. He was an assistant at Michigan for years. I think that's more the perfect fit. Being a Big Ten guy, you leave Seattle for Michigan. I think that's a way better job when you talk about Washington versus Michigan compared to Arizona State versus Michigan. So I would say Jed Fish is where I would go if I were them. I'm just not sure where the money's from. And I'm also not sure if they can keep Bryce Underwood either. Because if you're Bryce Underwood, you're looking at it, you're like, why would I stay with this team right now? He could go to Arizona State's been rumored that to bring that back in. He'd be a perfect fit at Arizona State. He'd be a perfect fit at LSU. Florida, where he was initially like talked about going. So I don't know if Michigan's in as good a spot as they think they are. It feels very Penn State-ish, where it's like Penn State was way over top their skis and thought they were a better job than they thought. I think Michigan's kind of in that same ballpark. I think Jed Fish is probably the one to end up with. Dillingham would shock me because I think Dillingham either stays at Arizona State for a long time or he takes an absolute premier job a year or two down the road.
And the sad part is, Michigan and now Penn State. You look at the Big Ten growing. Ohio State's not going anywhere. Oregon's not going anywhere. Well, we've seen now back-to-back years with Indiana and Cignetti. They're not going anywhere. So now you get the Michigan
USC. Also, USC has the number 2 recruiting class in the country. I don't see where he's going anywhere either. So yes, like there's going to be a lot of keeping up to do if you're Michigan and Penn State, and you can't drop down to 7th or 8th best team in the Big Ten quickly.
And you're losing all this time for the recruiting and stuff. So this not only is going to set them back next year, it might take a handful of years. Well, we're Michigan. Well, you were Michigan. You've never
Correct.
been a football school. Wink, wink. And now I'd rather go play for Dusty May and the hoop team than I would rather go play
Seriously.
football. Too bad they weren't handing out national championships in December because Michigan would be cutting the nets down, huh?
Yeah, they're talking about like, oh well, we'd be the 3rd or 4th best team in the SEC. Like, give me a freaking break.
Scroll has been going the whole time. Go check out Nick, of course, at Hathcoat 413 Insiders Football and the NCAA Insiders as they get ready for some college baseball in January and February. But as we always wrap it up, Nick, tell them where they can find all your work.
Yeah, obviously Hathcoat 413 is where you can get all my stuff with Insiders FB being our main football site. We give out plays all the time. I think we've got a couple coming tonight. I need to talk to Smitty and Matt still. But yeah, obviously our main thing, NCAA Insiders, it's becoming that time of year. And you brought it up. You asked a couple baseball questions. I think the plan is, from what it sounds like, is we're both going to have, so me and Matt, might as well promote it here. It sounds like I'm going to be doing Tuesdays on VSiN as a regular show in their podcast. Matt's going to be doing Fridays on VSiN on their show. So we should have, and then plus we're trying to figure out a way to do our podcast and our show as well through like Circa and VSiN as well. So you should be able to hear us 4 to 5 days a week, where we are going to be on live TV or on XM radio, one of the two. So we'll have plenty of spots there where you're going to hear plenty of college baseball coverage. Nobody's going to do it better than us. I can promise you that. I think Jeff can kind of mark where it's ever since we started this a couple years ago. I don't know who you can ask that would have more knowledge than the few of us that we combine like in our brains. So NCAA Insiders is going to be our main page. It's that time of year. We are starting all that coverage in January. So obviously I'll be on here a couple more times until then. Matt will too. But yeah, once it comes college baseball season, that's our main thing. And you will not be disappointed because we not only do we cover it the best, but we also make everybody the most money because nobody gambles on college baseball like we do.
Well, we can't wait again. Year number 4 with you guys. It's amazing where you started 4 years ago with Matt and Q, and had some deep talks with Matt in the growing pains and the lanes, and basically just keep your head down, keep doing what you're doing. It's not work, it's a passion, and you guys have shown that. And now, whether it's VSiN, Sports Grid, wherever it is, now the fact that Derek and Circa taking it to the next level in Nebraska, in Omaha last year, and I assume that will just be a yearly trip. We can't wait. We're the proud dads back here. How's that?
yeah, I do love it. You got to start somewhere, of course. And yes, Omaha is a yearly trip. I already talked to, like, we're getting planned out to go to Omaha this year. I'm also planning on going to a couple of the I wouldn't call it preseason, pre-conference tourneys. So I'll be in Dallas for 2 weekends doing those tournaments, covering it for them. ACC tournament as well. So yeah, we're going to be all over the place. So I can't wait.
Well,
Matt's going to be in Vegas. Of course, he asked for the Vegas tournament, so he got the Vegas tournament. I'm in Dallas. So that's where we're at. That's where we're at.
Well, again, it's right around the corner. Make sure you guys are following NCAA Insiders, of course. Nick at Hathcoat 413. You can catch all his football stuff, of course, on Insiders Football as well. So for myself, Jeff Dawson at EC Sports, the one and only Mr. Nick Hathcoat, we wish everyone a blessed day. Have a great weekend. I'll be back at 2:00 with Andrew McGinnis at McGinnis Picks at Wager Talk as we talk the Saturday NHL slate. Hey, if you've been guys back east, batten down the hatches. The wind is howling. Stay tuned.